Start recording. All right. Everybody able to, is there anyone that's not able to see the screen that I've shared?
Yep, I see it.
Great. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started and start the webinar today. A couple of housekeeping reminders. If you're listening in from your computer, just please double check that your computer mic is muted so we can limit the background noise for our presenters today. And if you're on your phone, you should be able, if you're on a cell phone, you should be able to mute yourself as well. But if we could try to keep the background noise down, that would be really helpful. I'm hoping the webinar will be interactive, so please feel free to ask any questions when you have them. And if you are in listen-only mode or having trouble with your mic, you can type your question in the chat box. There should be a little bar on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can click on the little chat button and go ahead and enter your questions that way. I'll be monitoring that through the presentation today. So we have, it looks like we have about 25 of you on the line, and I think that's a fair amount of people. I'm happy about that, and more of you are calling in. So we're not going to actually be able to do introductions, but when you do have a question, if you would please let us know your name and maybe which district you're calling in from, or if you're a farmer or producer, just who you're affiliated with, that would be wonderful. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Amy Gilroy. I'm the Farm to School Manager at the Oregon Department of Agriculture. I'll be facilitating the call today to talk about ways you can source Oregon products in your summer meal program. We'll learn from some successful districts who've been doing it and doing it well. And then we're also going to hear about Oregon Department of Education's Farm to Summer Week Challenge. We'll have Rick here in a couple of minutes talk about how you can get involved in the challenge, how it works, and how you can take the pledge. Then we'll also hear from Ann Levins from Central Point School District and Lisa Vincent from Beaverton School District about their experiences successfully sourcing Oregon products in their summer meal program. And then we will turn it over to some of our producers on the call, or our producer groups as well. So we'll have Sean Anderson from the Oregon Blueberry Commission, and hopefully Julie Hoffman will be calling in shortly from Sweet Cherry Commission. And then as well as Jeff Akeley from Akeley Farms, who has successfully sold strawberries to a lot of our Oregon schools. And then also we have John Gibson on the call, who's going to talk about a new partnership with Beaverton School District and some of the work they're doing to get Oregon chicken into their meal program in the summer. And then we'll talk about some resources that we have to support you, both our state agency staff, like myself and Rick, as well as Megan Kemple and our regional procurement hubs and how they can help you connect this summer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of share a couple of slides about Farm to Summer and see if I can get my computer to advance. So why Oregon Farm to Summer? I mean, the question really in my mind is why not Oregon Farm to Summer? Oregon's one of the most diverse growing regions in the country with more than 200 agricultural crops grown in 8 different regions around the state. So we have an abundance of agricultural products, and a lot of those products are available during the summer months. And luckily, we also have a number of summer meal programs, and this would be a great way to connect those two entities. Oregon's able to grow a lot of our crops year-round, but the summer is truly an abundant time in our state. And it's a perfect time to connect kids to what grows here, who the farmers are, and who the farmers are that grow fruits and vegetables in your community. It's also a time when Oregon produce may be more competitive for you as a school buyer, and Oregon growers may be looking to find markets for bumper crops and surpluses of produce. So it's a good time to get to know what grows in your region and who has it. So what is in season during Oregon summer? Some of you probably know a lot of these crops or know the seasonality schedule in Oregon. And this is just a snapshot of the types of Oregon fruits and vegetables that you're likely to find. It's not a comprehensive list. There are many, many more. This morning when I was putting these slides together, I realized there's one missing that I know is an early season favorite, at least of mine, which is asparagus. And it didn't make it to the list, but clearly that's an Oregon crop. Grows in some of our eastern Oregon regions more prominently, and is available May and June and some of just early parts of July. So these are some of the common crops. You'll see that in June we have a lot of the berry season coming on early, some of our lettuce greens, and then in July, in addition to all those June produce, we have the addition of some of these over here in the July bucket as well. And those somewhat carry through to August when we add corn on the cob and onions, among others. But this just gives you a snapshot of what's available. And we do have seasonality posters. Rick has a really great web page for many of you that you may know of, the Oregon Harvest for Schools material. And so we can definitely help you find seasonal produce and have a lot of resources to do that. So how do I find Oregon product? Many of you probably know that you have local farmers markets. That's a great way to connect with farmers in your individual regions and talk to them about what they might have in season, what they might be looking to sell into local markets. We also have, as many of you know, the school districts on the line. Through our procurement claims, we have a growing list of vendors and can share those with you, by region and help you find, specific products that you're looking for. Your distributors and processors also have local lists, and we work pretty readily with them to update those lists and make sure we can get those available to you. You also have partners in each of your regions, OSU Small Farms coordinators or family and community health staff or SNAP Ed staff in your regions that know the farmers, know the community partners, and are able to connect you. We'll also talk about our regional procurement hubs and their strategy and how we're helping build the capacity of our hubs to reach out to farmers and connect them to schools. Another soon to be coming portal, the Oregon Harvest for Schools portal, will be a platform where schools can find Oregon product. The Oregon Farm to School Network, EcoTrust, ODA, and ODE are working on getting that portal set up and making sure it has producers represented from all of our different regions. And Megan can probably talk a little bit more about that today. This is just kind of an idea of, these are actually some examples from our procurement claims of producers here on the left-hand column who have fresh crops available in the summertime. And this is not an exhaustive list, but this just gives a sense. I tried to capture some from all over the state. And like I said, both myself, Rick, and Megan have the contacts for each of these individual farms, and would be happy to give those to you. But this just gives you a sense of where the types of producers, and I didn't have time to actually put their location in, but we have all of that information. And then, like I said, these are some of the examples of distributors and processors that we work with pretty regularly, and they would be able to have local lists of produce and other products that they offer, and you could source from during the summer as well. All right, so Rick, I think I'll turn it over to you, and if you want to talk for a few minutes about the Farm to Summer Week Challenge.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks. Thanks for including me, Amy. So yeah, we are doing a Farm to Summer Week Challenge. That week of July 15th and 19th is shown there. That's smack dab in the middle of summer. And you're welcome, food service directors, for suggesting we move that to a better time. At first, we had that kind of at the opening in June when everybody's first week was, and that just wasn't going to work out for everybody. So yeah, we're happy to move it. So yeah, that's good. Currently we have 5 school districts signed up, which is really good because last year we had 0. So yeah, we're happy that more people have got on the bandwagon and have promoted this. So I really appreciate that. So, but basically the few things about this, it runs from this week, July 15th to 19th. We just you sign up by going to ode.communitynutrition@state.or.us. And if you don't want to remember that, you don't have to. You could just send me an email. My email is going to be on the last slide, rick.sherman@state.or.us, or call me up. Most of you people know me anyway, but just let me know you're going to participate. That's what you need to do. And then we just ask a few things. You're going to be asked to complete a brief summary, which is going to be in the form of a survey of your activities. Very brief, okay? Don't worry. And then to share some photos of your promotion in action. A couple tips for that. If you kind of avoid kids unless you can share that, because we'd like to show the pictures of the kids. So if you have like a release for them to, if it's okay for them to be had a picture taken of them, that would be great. Or even better yet is the Oregon product in action, like a creative shot of it being served or whatever like that. So just a couple of pictures, and we're going to do a brief summary survey. And then we have prizes. We're still working on forming on some. My assistant, Amy Williams, is figuring that out as we speak right now. And we do have a couple really cool trophies. That's a Farm to Summer Week Challenge winner. So we have a couple trophies, and they're beautiful pair trophies. Yeah, so we hope to keep this going kind of every year and kind of build on the success of it. So look forward to seeing more people come online. And again, give a shout out to me if you're interested in participating, if you haven't already. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Rick. I have a question actually. Could you talk a little bit just about what the challenge actually is in terms of what we're asking districts to do to participate, or what they're pledging to do?
Sure. Well, as most of you know, the National School Lunch Program, the Child Nutrition Programs, operates a summer lunch program every summer, free to most kids that in certain areas. They're typically at schools that are 51% free and reduced or higher. And any kid age 1 to 18 can show up and have a free lunch there. And usually it's just food, right? Just any kind of, food that qualifies. But we want to try to highlight Oregon grown and Oregon processed, Oregon grown foods. So we want to really try that week to highlight things that are available, like Amy was just talking about, in abundance. The Oregon types of crops like blueberries, raspberries, cherries, apples, whatever. So to have a real focus on the plate of as much Oregon as possible, but even if you just highlight one item and do a great job. So we're looking for very creative use of what and how you're doing that, and the sky's the limit in terms of what you want to do. But a photo and just we're going to ask like a little brief summary and survey of what you're doing, but just to highlight that Oregon grown item.
All right, great. Thanks, Rick. Does anybody have any questions for Rick right now, or any questions about the Farm to Summer Week Challenge?
It looks like there were a couple via the chat that Angie had a couple.
All right, let's see here. All right,
want me to
Rick,
go ahead and answer?
Yeah, can you, Rick, can you tell us which districts are signed up already?
Not right now. I want to wait till we get them all, and I have to be able to ask the district's permission that I could share their information. So I could do that. But why don't I need to talk to the districts first, and then when I do, I'll get back with Amy and let her know. I'm sure they're all going to say yes. We need help. We can be contacted and things like that. But yeah, right now we just have 5. We have 4 school districts and 1 kind of a nonprofit-y type place, and then anybody that can participate in the summer lunch program can participate. So Angie, that's your question in K-12, or does it include preschool or community sponsors, the summer feeding program? So anybody that participates in the summer feeding program can certainly participate, yes. So like boys and girls clubs and things like that too. And then Sharon asked, do all of our sites need to participate, or can we only do a few? That's a good question too. There are no parameters to that. You can do a really awesome, big, huge promotion at one school, or do it in multiple schools. So that's up to you, Sharon. You could do it in one school, certainly, or all of them. And then Christy asked, is there going to be another application process for those of us out of farm to school money? Oh, hey, a separate question. Oh yeah, we're working on that. The bill hasn't passed yet, but let's just say it does pass, and then that would enable you to use farm to school grant funds after June 30, because in June 30 our current farm to school grant ends, and so this in July obviously is past that. So we are as of now out of funding, and I'll let Megan could probably talk about that. She's our chief advocate for this. But if we were to get funding and this were to pass, it takes place essentially July 1st for the next grant. But I'll let Megan talk about that. And that was the last one.
All right, thanks. Anyone else have a question about the Farm to Summer Week Challenge at this time?
Amy, could I mention about farm to summer in the new bill, farm to school bill?
Why don't we do that a little bit later?
Okay.
All right. Well, I think what I'll do then is ask Ann Levins from Central Point School District, and maybe Lisa, I think Lisa's on the line, from Beaverton, to talk about some of their successes in integrating Oregon products into their summer lunch programs. Ann, do you want to maybe kick us off?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes?
Okay.
Mhm.
We're kind of lucky down here where I'm at in the Rogue Valley. Rogue Valley Farm to School has hooked us up with a number of local producers, but we're able to buy local peaches and cherries from a farm that gives us a discounted rate. And we have another farm that delivers lettuce to us on a weekly basis, so we have fresh local lettuce. And then we get hot dogs, the Zenner hot dogs to serve for our summer program. We always buy local ground beef each year, so we save some of that for summer. And we also get a biscuit mix from Camas Country Mill out of Junction City, and we normally have some of that left to make crisps or biscuits, or we actually use that for quite a few things. And I think that's, I don't know, we might do more. That's what I could think of. Rogue Valley Farm to School, like I said, is always hooking us up with new people, and we just happily purchase from them. Oh, and I guess we're purchasing from a local. He has a farm. He does. He raises pigs, and he's been selling us his sausage that he gets processed for us down here. And then he also has fresh produce that we purchase pending what he has ready to go. It looks like people can't hear me.
I hear you.
I can hear you.
You're very
Check your.
I can hear you.
Yeah, maybe it looks like maybe Deborah and Laura are having trouble hearing. If you could check maybe make sure your volume is turned up.
You're nice and loud, but Ann is really quiet.
Sorry.
I just turned my volume up. Did that help?
No, it's still pretty low.
You're very quiet, Ann.
I have never heard that before. I'm sorry. I'm trying my headphones, and I'm not sure that they're working that well.
If everyone else, maybe if the people that are also having trouble hearing you can turn their volumes up, maybe that'll help a little bit. You are a little soft, but I can hear you okay.
Okay. Well, I'm using a lot of what I'm already using during the school year, basically. And then, like I said, the local producers that have reached out to us for fresh fruit and vegetables. That's about all I have.
So, Anne, we have a question from Angie Treadwell. Did you negotiate the discounted rates? Cost is an issue for several of the districts that she's working with, and she had a question about that.
Yes, but they really wanted to get in on the fresh fruit and vegetable pilot through the USDA, our commodity money. So I think they were doing that as a helpful way to get us to partner with them to purchase in the fall the pears and the apples that they grow as well. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Are there other questions for Anne? I guess I have one. Anne, do you have a sense for how much of what you're serving in your summer meals program is local or is from Oregon?
I don't have a good sense. I should start paying a little bit better attention to that because we serve a ton of fresh produce. That's I think a draw for a lot of the parents that that choose to participate with us. We do tons of fresh. We try to stay away from our canned items and whatnot. But I'll start paying attention this year to see regarding what we get from Duck as our produce vendor for what they're carrying and bringing us. I don't know. I'm really sorry. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, it sounds like you are able to find quite a bit of local products. So yeah, I was just curious if you had a sense how that compared in the summer to the school year.
I would say it's more during the summer because our volume is so much less that it's easier to find stuff because we don't need 20 cases of something. We just need 2 or 3.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which is easier for the smaller farmers to accommodate rather than during the school year when our volume is so much more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Okay. Any other questions for Anne right now? Okay. All right, Lisa, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with Beaverton School District and how you're incorporating Oregon into your summer foods?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Well, along with Megan and Rick's list, we also use the Tri-County list. I'm trying to think of what the website is. I think it's www.tricountyfarm.org, and they incorporate farms in Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington counties, and they have a really cool list with numbers and a chart for when fruits and vegetables are most likely available in Oregon. And then they give each farm a number and they show that on the map. And they also give contacts. So that's one way. We just call around and just say, hey, do you deal with school districts? And if they say no, just ask them why. And sometimes they don't realize they can. And so we do that. But this year we try to utilize one of our larger school gardens. It's Terra Nova. And we used a forward contract and met with them and said, instead of getting a bunch of things from you, what's one thing that we can be assured of that we can get? And so they're going to grow zucchini for us. And we like to use the orange sectionizer. So we cut the ends off, cut it in half, and then put it through the orange sectionizer. So it comes out and sticks. It's really quick. We serve those at the mobile sites. And then we've used Springbank Farms in the past, but they're kind of far away. So I wanted to use them again during the Farm to Summer Challenge Week. So if you know of anybody else in our area that wants to piggyback maybe on that order to make it more economical, that would be great. And then John's on the line, and we're super excited about partnering with him, Aurora Valley Organic Poultry, for the drumsticks that we're going to be serving. And then Roadrunner Pizza we're going to use, and Ikley Farm strawberries. We are hoping to have a smoothie day. And then just checking with our local produce distributor to see what items they might have that are local that we normally use, like local red leaf lettuce, local romaine. A lot of times the local is not much more expensive. In fact, it's less expensive than what you get from California. So just checking with them to see all of the produce that they have that's local and try to use that. And then we're trying to do a better job on our procurement, on our bid docs, and noting, like with the produce distributor, saying that they have to give us a list of what's local. So we're working on that. And one way to promote it is to have an Instagram page. And let's see, can't think of anything else. Yeah, do you have any questions for me?
Are there questions for Lisa? I guess one question I have is how do you promote it on your Instagram? Do you promote?
We take, well, like Rick said, a lot of the times when we did a Big Apple Crunch event, and we did get pictures of students, but we had to check with that school. They have a list of kids that cannot have their photo taken, and so we just make sure that we're not taking pictures of them, and that way we know that it's approved. But most of the time we try to keep kids out of it unless it's really, have to take a picture. And then we just post those pictures, say what farm it's from or where it's from, where it's produced. And then we also cross, we have a Facebook page and our web page, and we just link it to that. Try to get people to go to all of our different social media things. And
so Lisa, do you promote it ahead of time, or do you promote what you're going to be serving that's Oregon, or is it more?
We do promote it ahead of time, and I think we just got done serving some tamales from Portland.
Oh, great!
From Locos.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're wonderful, and all of the leads emailed me back. I didn't ask them to, but they emailed back and said, "Oh my gosh, they didn't think that they would go over that well, and they ran out, and now the older kids are super mad." So we're hoping for farm to school grant funds again so that we can do that. It was really fun for the kids, and we put up a sign that says "Coming soon," and we've found that we're doing that for the Zenners as well, that we're serving in June for regular school year, and then we'll also be serving those this summer too. I forgot about that. but the coming soon sign helps because it gets them really excited. And then, so for the same with Instagram, we take a picture of it ahead of time or put a note out there that says, hey, you know, this is coming. And then on the day that we serve it, we'll post another one.
Great.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that you were able to source the local tamales. For those of you on the line that may not know, we do now have at least for the Portland metro region, she's hoping to be able to sell. I think she's trying to actually get her tamales out to Hermiston right now, but there is a local tamale maker here in the Portland metro region who has a whole grain corn tamale that's been approved for schools. I think she has up to almost 4 recipes now, maybe 3. I know she has 3 for sure, but I think maybe she's working on a 4th that are approved for schools. And she's successfully sold to Portland Public Schools, Beaverton. And anyway, that's just a great way to find a local product, something that's culturally relevant to a lot of the students that you're serving. And so if people have questions about that product, most of myself, Rick, and Megan know about that product. So please let us know if you'd like more information about it. All right, so it looks like we have a couple of questions here from, let's see, Stacy Kleinschmidt asks, Stacy from Mount Angel School District, is there anywhere I can find a list for Marion County? Yeah, and like I said earlier, we do have our procurement claims vendors and do know who in the Salem area and just in Marion County area who's been selling to schools. So we could definitely look through the procurement claims and give you a list of vendors that way. Maybe Megan or Rick, if you have anything you want to say about other avenues to find local.
That's been my best way to do it. When I get an email, it's pretty quick for me. I can get a kind of up-to-date list of everybody that has turned in claims in a particular county. So you could know what all your compatriots are doing that way.
Megan, this is Lisa. I think Marion County also has a small farms local buying guide online that lists farms. I'm not sure what the website is, but if you Google Marion County local farm guide or something like that, it'll pop up. That might help.
Okay. Looks like Angie has a question. What name should I search to see your Facebook or Instagram? Lisa, that's probably for you. Hello?
Oh, sorry, I had you muted. BSD Farm, the number 2 school.
All right, and then Deborah, you have a question. Oh, for the tamales. The tamale company name is Salsas Locas. And I'll just go ahead and put, her, Lucy De Leon is the owner's name. I will go ahead and send out back in the chat box here her contact information before the call ends, so everybody has that. All right, wonderful. Does anyone have a question for Anne or for Lisa at this point, or anything that popped in your minds that you wanted to ask more questions about? All right. Well, I think we'll turn it over now to our producers and producer groups on the call to talk a little bit about ways you guys can find, particularly Oregon berries. I think we have a few of our berry growers and commissions on the call, but they'll be able to. They're going to share a little bit about who their suppliers are, where they're located. I guess maybe some effective strategies for working with those businesses. So I think I'll go ahead and start with Sean. Sean, are you on the line from the Oregon Blueberry Commission?
I am on the line.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
So do you want to give us a sense for how some of the districts can source more Oregon blueberries in their summer meal program?
Absolutely, absolutely. We really recommend sourcing blueberries from a packer distributor, and there are a couple reasons for that. Your packer distributors are going to be more of a one-stop shop. They're going to have produce coming in all the time, and so there's not going to be a The other reason is more of a quality testing that the packer distributor provides. So all fruit that comes into that packer is sorted for quality. So all your stems and your leaves and any fruit that's not table ready is sorted out before it gets to the clamshell. The fruit is also tested for maximum pesticide residue levels. And finally, it's tested for pests to make sure that there aren't any unwanted stowaways that are going to be included in your clamshell. All those clamshells are going to contain a code, and that code is going to tell which farm the blueberries came from, what field the farm, and what section of that field that fruit actually came from. So if there's an issue with the fruit in the clamshell, it can be traced back to the source. But all of that being said, we've got a list of all of our packers and distributors on our website at OregonBlueberry.com. And there's also a list of, it's not an exhaustive list because they have to opt in to be included in it, but we've got a list of many U-Pick farms by county on our website as well. And that is readily available to anyone who might want the information.
Okay. Questions for Sean? Do people are some of you already sourcing Oregon blueberries, or I guess are people having any challenges with sourcing Oregon blueberries, or wanna offer an anecdote or a story about it?
I want to,
The
but yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I think the crickets are, that's a good sign. We want to make sure that people can get Oregon blueberries on those plates.
Okay. Did someone have a comment? Okay. All right. Well, that's good news. Julie, are you on the call? Julie Hoffman from the Oregon Sweet Cherry Commission. Okay. We were having trouble getting a hold of her, so she may not be on the call yet. I will just say a couple things about Oregon Sweet Cherry. We do have, particularly we do have a lot of sweet cherry suppliers in the Columbia Plateau, the Milton Freewater area. Diamond Fruit Growers is a good source of Oregon Oregon cherries out in Odell. And then we also have the Hood River Cherry Company, and then Orchard View Farms in the Dalles. So hopefully Julie will be able to join us. But if she's not able to, and people do have questions about sweet cherries, please let myself, Rick, or Megan know, and we can help direct you down the right path. So I think Jeff Akeley, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Hi, Jeff.
Okay, great. Hi.
Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about, Lisa had mentioned that she'd been sourcing from you for strawberries. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your expanding market, particularly with schools, with the berries you're growing?
Okay, Well, I looked at all the different names in this list, and I've probably bothered a lot of these people with an email, but uh, it's been a real great thing for us to be able to sell to the schools. It's helped expand our business, and I think the kids really enjoy it. They really like the fresh berries. They do taste different than the California strawberries that they might be getting or from elsewhere. Um, I haven't had any problems with anybody in any of the schools. The big problem has been on my end with the weather. For instance, I wanted to start about a week earlier this year than we did, but we got a late frost that took out some of the early blooms. So everybody that I've dealt with at all the schools has been great. And you know, I think that it's possible for a lot of farmers to get into selling to schools. We're not used to dealing. For instance, there's a lot of paperwork. If you're going to sell to a school, you need to start about a month before your season to make sure all the paperwork's done and everything. So it's just a learning process for us, but it's been nothing but good for us. Was there anything specifically you wanted me to talk about? I've had nothing but good experiences. All the kids have seemed to like the berries, and all the people have been great to work with.
Great. Maybe just mentioning a little bit, Jeff, about how you started working with one or two of the districts in terms of finding negotiating the volume or the price point, or just, really understanding how you started, how you had those initial conversations. Did you provide an opportunity for districts to try the berries first, or maybe just some examples of what were some of those first steps you took to get introduced to a district once you made that contact?
Okay, well, the first school district we started selling to was Umatilla, really close to us. We had a farm stand set up on the side of the road, and Ricky Lynn Larson came to our stand and just started talking to us and said, I can't find anybody that would be willing to sell to the school. And we said, well, we will. And she had tried the berries, and she loved them, and she's just started putting them in her lunch program. And I think the second school district we really started selling to was Beaverton. And Lisa, we always offer a sample, but she just kind of took a leap of faith and just took a jump and started ordering them, and I think they worked out pretty well. We've got several different varieties, so we go through, and they all taste different. All the different strawberries taste different. So we started in the end of May, and we helped supply the summer program throughout the summer, and there was all different varieties of berries, and I think the kids got to try them. And but yeah, she just took a leap of faith with us, and it's worked out. But any other school district that's interested, I'd be more than willing, and I think a lot of other farmers would be more than willing to provide samples and do a little trial run for instance, I think the Portland Public Schools is going to do one order from us this year, and I think they're just going to do the one unless they decide to do the summer program. But it might be a way to start doing business together in the future. So it's kind of a slow process, but I do think it if we can kind of power through it, it works well for everybody.
Great. Questions for Jeff? Well, Jeff, this is Amy. Are you taking more school customers for this summer?
Oh, of course. Yeah. We're always we went out and planted some more berries. Just the demand's always going up, even at our farmers markets. But yeah, we would like to definitely do business with more schools. And we're out in Hermiston, but I mean, we drive to Portland, down to Salem. So it just, and we're kind of doing all the marketing ourselves. But no, yeah, we're always taking at least willing to talk to somebody. But yeah, that's something that we'd really like to do more of is sell to schools, because it's been just such a benefit to us.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear you're having a lot of success in the market.
Yep. It's definitely a good thing. That's why we came out to the hearing, because I really think if we can kind of be patient with each other, schools be patient with us, and us be patient with them, and get things worked out, it's great for the kids, and it helps us too. We're a local Oregon business, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lisa Vincent, do you want to mention anything about your how you've sourced this, or how you've used the strawberries? I mean, I'm assuming maybe mostly fresh, but are there any other ways or forms that you've used Jeff's strawberry in your meal or in your recipes that you'd want to share?
Yeah, they are very sweet berries, I have to say. And when the leads first got them, they said, "Gosh, they're small," but they're not really small, and they're very dark red. And if you cut one open, they're just solid red. They're gorgeous, and they're very sweet. We mainly serve them fresh, but a couple times last year we used OSU's smoothie recipe, and we made the smoothies with yogurt and orange juice, so that they would credit for the entree. And then we made those ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and we served them at all of our mobile sites, and packed them in ice, put them in the transport carts, and by the time they got to the kids, they were still partly frozen. I would say maybe a eighth of the way frozen, but very cold, and the kids really liked that a lot. And we gave them, we used the great information on ODE's website, the coloring pages for kids. We used the strawberry one both in English and Spanish, and had those available. So that's another way we use the strawberries.
Great. Any questions for Jeff Eichley or Lisa about how they work together? All right. Well, I think we'll move on. Maybe this would be a good time for John Gibson, if you're on the call, and Lisa, for you two to just talk a little bit about your new partnership with Dayton Natural Meats, and the poultry that you're going to be serving in your summer meals program. And then I think, John, you had mentioned that you started having some conversations with other districts about potentially getting more Oregon raised poultry into their meal programs. Maybe we'll give you guys a couple minutes to share about that.
Well, that'd be great. Okay. I guess just starting out, it's kind of interesting that basically in Portland's backyard, Dayton Natural Meats has been raising locally. We have locally raised and hatched and harvested organic poultry for about a decade, and up until last year, virtually all of our products were going into the I guess further processing and national branded product lines. And we finally got to the point where we were big enough to start venturing out into going into the retail operation and into schools and different places. We made the commitment to get there. And I met Lisa back in January at a program, and basically handed her a case of chicken and said, "Hey, check this stuff out." And then I did a couple follow-up calls, and she's been just wonderful to work with, and wanted to get our product in for her summer program. And that's how we met and started. And they've got quite a bit of product coming in this summer that they're going to be using in their things. What have you found out about the product as you've worked with it, Lisa?
Thank you, John. The product is amazing. The drumsticks are huge. They, of course, anytime you cook with raw chicken and you mention it to your leads, they always go, oh no. But what's cool about the drumsticks is you don't have to cut anything apart. We've used raw chicken before, and we had a pretty extensive training with the sites, but the drumsticks are great because there's no cutting. You just take them out of the box thawed, and you put them on a pan and put your sauce on. So all of the testing that we did, the recipe testing, has been great, and we just look forward to getting them. And I'm thankful for EcoTrust for putting on that event. It's a great way to meet farmers and producers, and we've really come away with some good products that way. So, and I will mention it's hard for producers sometimes, or they don't realize the school districts and all of the pre-planning that goes into purchasing. When I met with John, I explained to him that, you know, we had some limited dollars to spend, and we'd like to start small and just do this for our summer program, so that we can really look at the product and see if we'd like to continue that for our school year. But districts plan for their commodities, you know, a year and a half in advance. So we had already planned for a certain amount of dollars to go towards poultry, and that was using commodity dollars. So, so we have our commodity purchases planned for chicken for next year, but maybe the following year, or if we get additional farm to school grant funds, we can procure some more drumsticks sooner than later.
Well, Lisa knows me well enough to say, hey, I got drumsticks, so it works pretty well. You know, we're kind of, it's an interesting situation for us in that, we are a completely Oregon-owned company that has Oregon's only USDA poultry processing plant in terms of actually doing harvesting. So when it comes down to actually getting Oregon product that's USDA approved and certified, we're the guys. In the retail end of the marketplace, there's always markets for drums, for breasts and for breasts and thighs and thigh meat and stuff, but drumstick seems to lag behind. So oftentimes that product is something that's readily available for schools, along with like breast tenders. And our owner is, being an Oregon guy himself, and has always been, is just committed that he wants to sell product in Oregon, even if it costs him a little bit more money as compared to putting it out as a further processed product in the high-end organic commodity market. So that leaves us where we can price things at, sure, it's not as cheap as Southern grown chicken, but it's still pretty competitive. And because they're organic, we've done some testing here, and we find that the breast meat that comes off, the meat and the raw meat and skin that comes off of these with no tendons averages 4 ounces per drumstick. So cooked off, it's more than the ample portions, and we try to make sure that there are no drumsticks that would get into the system where, one drumstick is more than adequate to go on a plate. But it's good. It's local. People recognize, and hopefully will continue to get more recognition for the fact that it is a local product, and we want to work with anybody that is interested in having it on their in their school lunch programs, because we think it's just neat that kids would know that that's another part of the food chain. That's and parents, that's another part of the of Oregon food that is available and ready for them to have.
I'm glad you mentioned the size, John, because I had a note to mention that. So for school districts, that's huge, because we've purchased drumsticks before, and that were much, much smaller, and sometimes we had to give 2. And it's hard when you're serving kids and somebody gets 1 and somebody gets 2. That just doesn't work. So
Right.
we did weigh those out, and sure enough, it will meet your 2-ounce meat alternate requirement for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been really nice because EcoTrust has been working with us to develop, I think, posters for you, Lisa, to go along with the school lunch program. We provided some photographs that we have. We don't have a big marketing department. We're basically chicken growers and chicken harvesters and chicken processors, but we do harvest weekly. Believe it or not, we didn't even know it ourselves, but we quietly became 1% of the nation's organic chicken. We produce 1% of the nation's organic chickens, and we just never knew it.
Good for you.
So, yeah. So, that's a product that we pack it up in 40-pound cases. It's an air-chilled chicken, so it's fairly dry when you open the box. There's not, waste in the bottom or water. Once they thaw, it's not a sloppy mess. And we put them in a box with a poly liner, and then we quick freeze the product, and people can buy it from us, and we have trucks and stuff, so we're able to get smaller amounts of distribution done. And of course, our goal would be that this would become something that school districts around the state would take advantage of, and if they needed to use some of these offset dollars to get that local chicken into their kids, being able to have them have such a local and wholesome product is to us something we'd like to do, and we'd like for school districts to partner with us on it.
Yeah, and again, I want to mention one more time, if districts are worried, they don't want to do the whole raw thing, because I know Beaverton really didn't want to go there either, but it is really slick. And like I said, no cutting, it's clean, just like you do at home. And it's really a good product for districts to ease into. Really simple, and it's so versatile. You could use a lot of different recipes, a lot of different sauces or seasonings. So it's a perfect product.
Great. Thank you both. I think that's, I realize there is that oftentimes with raw poultry that is, I think that was just really great that you gave some very specific examples of, how the product is packaged, how districts can expect to receive it, and different ways of using it. And it sounds like it's fairly easy to use in the sense that it's already at the right portion size. The packaging is really conducive to, the very minimal preparation. So thank you both. We do have a question about how far, John, you're able to distribute. Are you able to get your product most places around the state?
We work with people. We'll find a way to get product to you. We work with 2 major local distributors that travel around the state. We have trucks. We have relationships with people in the business. So getting the product to a district in its frozen form is not going to be a problem.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was a question from Ann Levins, who's down in Central Point. So maybe you guys can connect offline here. All right.
Okay.
Any questions? Any more questions for John or for Lisa about how they've been working together, or any questions for Dayton Natural Meats? Okay. All right. Well, I think we will move on to talk a little bit more about some of the resources that we have for Farm to Summer. Clearly there's great resources on this call. The producers and agricultural partners that have called in are here as a resource for you. We'll make sure to share their contact information to you after the webinar. I did just want to put our kind of the 3 key partners for Farm to Summer up here, myself, Rick Sherman at Department of Ed, and then Megan Kemple with the Oregon Farm to School and School Garden Network. We are here as a resource for you for finding and sourcing Oregon product, helping with the logistics of getting product into your meals programs, connecting with other buyers to find out what they're doing, what's working for them, and really just help you troubleshoot. So I know many of you know us and have this information, but I did want to put it up here for anyone new or anyone who's thinking about taking the Farm to Summer Week Challenge and might not know where to start. But we are here as a resource for you as our state agencies and our lead partner for Farm to School. So there's our contact information. And then I thought, Megan, this would be a really good time for you to talk about, I got your slide this morning. It's a little fuzzy, but hopefully people can generally make those out. I did want to talk about or have Megan share more about the regional procurement hubs. These are key organizations around the state that we are really trying to build the capacity of to better connect producers and schools in their regions. Rick and I are at state agencies, and clearly we do what we can, but really having someone in your region or someone in your neighborhood, so to speak, or your region in the state that you can connect with is really, what we hope will be a way to build these relationships, strengthen these relationships over time. And so I think I'll have Megan talk a little bit about how the procurement hubs are helping connect schools and producers.
Great. The Oregon Farm to School and School Garden Network has established regional hubs around the state. Some of the hubs focus on education and other of the hubs focus on procurement. So efforts to incorporate local food into school meals. And this is a map of our hubs around the state. The brown area, light brown areas are those where we don't have hubs established yet. And our regional hub leads are there to provide technical assistance, resources, and networking opportunities to you in your regions as you are working to incorporate local food into school meals. So they can respond to technical assistance requests if you need help with something. If you need help identifying producers in your region, they can help with that. They can help with region-specific resources. Sometimes they have guides, locally grown guides that they might be able to provide you, for example, through their organizations or other connections. So, for example, OSU Extension has great lists of producers. They also host regional gatherings at least once a year, gathering buyers and sellers and other supportive partners together for a meeting, usually an hour and a half or 2 hours long within the region, to give people an opportunity to network with each other, for buyers and sellers to connect, and to try to identify and work through region-specific challenges. One of the reasons that the hubs are so important regionally is that, as you all can imagine, the challenges that school districts and producers face in the Willamette Valley along I-5 are quite different than the challenges with distribution that partners out in the eastern part of the state or on the coast might experience, as well as the crops and products that are available. So please do reach out to your regional hub lead for support. You all should have received, I think if you are a Farm to School procurement grantee school district, you probably received you received an email from Amy Jean Williams from the Department of Ed in the last week or so, just with some tips for sourcing Oregon foods and how to spend your grant funds. And in that email, there should be a link to the contact information for all the hubs. So if you don't know who your hub is, you can check that email, or you can contact me and I can connect you with them, but the organization's name is right there on the map. And then the other resource that I want to mention is that Amy mentioned at the beginning of the webinar is the Oregon Harvest for Schools portal, which is an online directory where producers and their products are listed. These are school-ready producers who have been vetted and identified as both interested and ready to sell to schools. The website is searchable by product and type and delivery and capacity of the producer, liability insurance, etc. The things that we think you want to know when you're searching, and then you find them and connect with them directly to make a sale. So it's not a place to place an order. That directory is currently being built by all these hub leads. So they're populating it with producers right now, and we expect that by the end of the school year, so before summer, there will be a directory with all the producers that we've identified so far, and it will continue to be built and strengthened over the next year. So by summer, you should have a pretty great list of resource, and we'll make sure that all the schools are aware of that resource when it's in good shape. And the last and final thing I wanted to mention is that we're working on renewing funding for the Farm to School grant program through the Farm to School bill. And for the first time this legislative session, the bill includes additional funding for summer meal sponsors. So two different ways that that's true.
Is that you, Megan?
It's not me.
Oh, somebody must have an incoming call.
Yeah, I'm calling it. Thanks, Mom. I'll just wait a minute, or I'll just talk over it. That's okay. Hopefully don't hurt.
If you guys, if you could please try to mute your lines. I'm not sure. Maybe. Oh, here. I think I found it. There. Okay. I found it. Okay.
So there's two provisions there in the bill. One is that for the first time, summer meal sponsors who are not school districts are eligible for the grants. So our partners at food banks, parks and recs, et cetera, that are sponsoring summer meal programs are eligible for the funds. And the second provision is that school districts, in the past, school districts that offered summer meal programs, sponsored summer meal programs, received the same amount of funding per meal as the same amount of funding based on size as a school that didn't serve summer meals. And for the first time, we're making sure that the schools that offer summer meals get some additional funding to cover the cost of their summer meals. That both of those are assuming that the bill passes. And so, of course, we'll want your support to help advance the bill. But those are in the bill for the first time. We're really pleased because summer meals obviously are a really great opportunity for Farm to School. That's it. Thanks, Amy.
All right, great. Thanks, Megan. Does anybody have any question about the regional hubs, or maybe wanting to know, well, clearly from the map, you can tell who the hubs are in your region. Like Megan said, you should have, most, if not all of you, should have that information about who the contact is for your regional hub lead. Any questions about resources that we've talked about on the call, or any questions for Rick or myself?
Yeah, I have a question in regards to these regional procurement hubs, and that is there a way for producers like myself or like Jeff to have the names of the individuals that or the information about who heads these areas up, and can get our information to them, so that if people have questions, they know who to contact, and they can talk, to other people that have used products that we sell, to get an idea, so we can kind of say who we are and get this information out to these folks.
Yeah, well, I mean, so what we are, both of your companies or both of your farms information will be in the Oregon Harvest for Schools portal. We already have both of you down for that. But we can definitely share, if there's something specific that you'd want us to share, or maybe there's there's something you wanted to, maybe there's surplus, maybe Jeff he wants to do a campaign or a promotion of strawberries. I mean, we could definitely do individualized promotions on your behalf, and I'd be happy to help you with that. But generally speaking, the portal, it will be populated with producers and companies like yours, John. And so we'll be able to, anyone will be able to find a producer in their region by using the portal. And it'll have a drop-down option for selecting, the type of product they're looking for, the region they're looking to buy from, or the region that they, want to be sourcing from. So we'll have all that information in the portal, like Megan said, hopefully to go live by the end of the summer. But in the meantime, yes, we can absolutely, get your information out to all of the procurement hub leads.
Okay. Yeah, just an idea of, contact information, what we have, that kind of thing, so people, can associate, flesh out who we are, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
All right. Any other questions at this time? We have about 15 minutes left if we need it, but if people don't have more questions, I think we can probably wrap up the call. I will make sure, just as John said, I'll make sure to get Jeff's information, Jeff Eichley's information out to everyone on the call, as well as John Gibson. We'll share the Oregon Blueberry Commission website where you can find the packers and supplier information. Is there anything else that Megan or Rick that you want to share before we jump off the call?
I'm good.
Just that, this is Megan, just that I think that this webinar has been super valuable, and I think the Farm to Summer Challenge is really great, and really want to encourage people to remember to take the challenge, and when you do, I think Rick highlighted this, but really think about if there's something new you could offer or a way you could increase your purchases, to use it as a way to really increase purchases of Oregon grown fruits and veggies and other products. Oregon products this summer would be great.
Okay. Yeah, thank you all for joining the call today. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about where you can get Oregon products over the summer, and you've learned how to sign up for the challenge, as Megan just said, and take the pledge to serve Oregon. I want to give a special thanks, of course, to our agricultural partners. I really want to thank you all for being on the call. I know you're really busy. Sean Anderson, Jeff Eichley, and John Gibson, I really appreciate your time today. And sharing your products with schools. So please let us know how we can be a resource here at the state, with the Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, or the network. And we hope you have a great summer season.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, Amy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Mhm.